A new report has accused companies in Qatar of ruthless exploitation of migrant workers on construction projects for the 2022 Football World Cup. Amnesty International says that many of these workers face dangerous conditions, squalid accommodation and go unpaid for months. Well, the Qatari authorities insist they're tackling the abuse after similar criticism from the United Nations. Our correspondent Andrew North reports from Nepal, where many of the migrant workers come from.
The Himalayas of Nepal, the highest country in the world, but it's also one of the poorest. We're going to a remote mountain village with an ever more common story. Every household depends on someone working abroad to make ends meet. Manju's husband got a job in Qatar helping build the new World Cup airport. He was earning just £100 a month, but she hoped it would change their life. Now she has to care for her daughter and his parents alone. This summer he died of a heart attack, just 29 years old.
My husband was healthy when he left. The doctor who did his medical check would have sent him back if he was ill. But he was always complaining about the long working hours in the heat and the rotten food. I'm sure that's what killed him.
Other villagers who work there say they were lucky to survive. Qatar has become a dirty word here.
I would never go to Qatar again. And that's what I tell my friends. Instead of dying in Qatar, it's better to die here in Nepal.
Every day more Nepalese leave their country to work in oil-rich Qatar. They're drawn by a huge construction boom as it prepares to host the World Cup. But dozens of migrant workers have died in conditions human rights groups like Amnesty say amount to slave labour. The Qatari authorities reject that, saying the problem has been exaggerated. This is where the desperate exodus begins, at the government labour agency, where the press of would-be migrants keeps growing. Wages in Qatar may be low, but they're still better than in Nepal. Up to 10,000 Nepalese pass through here every week now. And the authorities are struggling to keep control. Tempers are fraying here, as they always do, where all Nepalese heading for low-wage jobs abroad have to come to sort out their papers. And most of them are going to Qatar. It's with these vast ranks of cheap labourers that the World Cup in Qatar is being built. Their plight may now be more in the spotlight, but that means little to Manju and her daughter. Instead of a new beginning, the World Cup has only brought them misery. Andrew North, BBC News in Nepal.
Well, joining me to discuss this in more detail is Suman Karel from the BBC's Nepalese service and Safar Faisal from the BBC's Arabic service. And welcome to you both. Suman, how many people in Nepal are hoping to go to places like Qatar to be involved in these big construction projects?
The number is increasing every day because it is estimated that almost 1,500 people leave the country every day to work in the Gulf countries.
And are these people that just are then kind of getting better paid than they would do if they stayed in Nepal and then sending money back to their families?
Yes, that's basically what they expect. But always what happens is they are told that they will get one work, but when they reach there, they say that they are asked to do other works. And then they don't get the pay that they are supposed to get, because these are basically very innocent people from the remote parts of Nepal who have never been to a city, who have never gone on a plane, and so they just don't understand for what work they are going, and that is the place where then the other people take advantage of them.
Yeah, and Safar, it was such a huge kind of public relations victory for Qatar when they won the World Cup. And it seems that they've kind of had endless public relations nightmares
Yes.
ever since.
Obviously, the winning of hosting the World Cup in 2022 had a huge spotlight on Qatar. It's a very small country, and it's against all the odds they win that bid. And obviously, everybody would expect them to come to the sort of international standards as to human rights, but this is not what the reality is. The reality is that, and many people in the Middle East or working in the Middle East issues, politics, knows far too well that this is everyday story. There is nothing new on what we heard from Amnesty International. But where is the complication comes? Where the complication comes when the World Cup is involved. This is international competition. The world look into Qatar. They expect them to treat those people decently. And in the meantime, there is a huge demand on the building sector in Qatar now. So they need to have this influx of people, workers coming from Nepal, Pakistan, India, and there is up to like 1.2 million people working in Qatar now.
Yeah, but Safar, I think I'm right in saying that you can go anywhere in the Gulf and find that on the building sites, you know, if you go to Kuwait City, you're not going to find Kuwaitis doing the building work. It will be guest workers from abroad, migrant workers who are kind of sending their money back.
But this is a huge number coming increasingly, and where it's coming, the complex comes when it's related to the World Cup. This is where everything has been the talk of everybody, and the human rights activists and organizations say, hey, are you putting the money of the World Cup to use it in these abuses?
So given what we have seen, Ziman, and the evidence that has been presented by the UN, by Amnesty International, do you think there'll be a decline in the number of Nepalese people wanting to go and work there, or do you think they'll still think, okay, it may be terrible, but I'm going to get better paid than if I stay at home?
I don't think the situation will change, because basically they feel there is no opportunity within the country. There is political instability for so many years. The industrial situation is not good, and 65% of the people depend on farming, and now for the youth, farming is no more charming. They just want to go somewhere else and make their living. And the only other opportunity now they have is to go abroad. So that's why I feel even there are these types of dangers, people will not be taken back. They want to do better, and they want to do something, go abroad. That will be the feeling.
And Safar, presumably there will be a response from the Qataris, because the eyes of the world are on them.
Well, you might remember that The Guardian has made investigation a few weeks ago, and in the beginning, the Qataris have been denying this, and then they have admitted there has been irregularities regarding this, and they said that they want to hire a company to follow up these irregularities.
Okay, there we have to leave it. Both of you, thank you very much indeed for being with us.